Sometimes on the high water, this boat gets trapped beneath this bridge. So we always have to do a calculation of the tide. I know it's very hard to believe now. The high water mark is the green moss line on the river's wall. And the tide at the moment leaving London to the North Sea, so the water level is getting lower. So the green moss line there, that's the high water mark. This is the road bridge. The next one is the station. This is the Blackfriars Railway Station. Here, the platforms for the station directly above us. The first railway station to span the length of the river. On the left, you've got the dome of St. Paul's Cathedral. You can get to the top of St. Paul's as well. Look carefully at the top, above the dome, underneath the cross. You can see people. They're at the top. But I must warn you, there is no lift. There's over 550 steps you need to walk to get there. St. Paul's built back in 1710 by Christopher Wren. St. Paul's stands 365 feet tall. Easily remembered, there's 365 days in a year, 365 feet for St. Paul's Cathedral. And on the left, you can all see the new City of London School. This is a private school costing £20,000 a term. A famous actor was educated in that school called Daniel Radcliffe. He played Harry in Harry Potter. Parents, if you send your kids here, you'll definitely expect them to leave with magic powers as well. This next bridge is called the Millennium Footbridge. You may remember it from the Harry Potter film. This is the bridge the Death Eaters destroyed. Or you may remember it when the bridge started moving. This bridge nicknamed the Wobbly Bridge. On its opening day, people started crossing the bridge. It started shaking violently side to side. The police deemed it unsafe, so shut the bridge. It took 2 years to re-strengthen it. The architect of the bridge was interviewed on the news when it started happening. He said it was nothing to do with his design. It was because Londoners were walking too aggressive over the bridge. That's why it started to move. He said that on BBC News. On the right, you can see a replica of Shakespeare's Globe. It's built with thatch, and it's the only building you'll see with a thatched roof, because ever since the Great Fire of London, it was banned. You can watch a play. They perform the plays during the summer. You can buy a standing ticket for £10, which is great value for money. There is no toilets inside, so remember to pee or not to pee. That is the question. This next bridge is called Southwark Bridge. This is the least used bridge in London. They built it to ease congestion from London Bridge, but made it very difficult to find through the back streets and alleys. Anyone that does find the bridge is most probably lost, drunk, or both. It does explain why there's nobody here. Under the bridge, you can see chains. They put chains beneath bridges to save your life. So if you always got a chain to grab if you fall in. On the right, ahead of this boat, a brown bricked building with red windows. That building is called the Anchor Tavern, one of the oldest riverside taverns along the River Thames. It was built all the way back in 1615, makes it over 400 years old. Me and the captain visit the Anchor every single night. After work, this is where me and the Captain Martin research the commentary for hours upon hours. Research about London. This bridge is called the Cannon Street Railway Bridge. On the left is the station. Look there, underneath it, a glass box, ladies and gentlemen, on the left. Look in that glass box, you can see semi-naked people. As a health spa and sauna, they thought it will give them privacy under a bridge, but completely forgot about the boats that pass beneath it every single day, every 5 minutes. On the right hand side of this boat, you got Borough Market, so the food market located here along the south bank of London. This next bridge, London Bridge, commonly mistaken by a lot of people for Tower Bridge, the fifth London Bridge in 2,000 years since the Roman times. Most of them have all fell, reason for the nursery rhyme about it. The bridge before this one, it got sold to an American oil tycoon, Robert McCulloch. Mr. McCulloch paid £2 million. The bridge was removed brick by brick, transported and shipped to Arizona, where the bridge was rebuilt. The most famous London Bridge was the third one, with houses and shops. The third bridge was the medieval one. And on the left, you got a building with blue windows. That building is the headquarters, the offices for the window cleaning apprentices in London. Just checking if anyone's still listening. On the right hand side, you can see Western Europe's tallest building here. This is the Shard. 70 platforms in the Shard, inside restaurants, offices, bars, apartments, a viewing platform as well. You can get the view from the Shard. Got viewing platforms on the left as well. The building here that gets wider as it gets taller has the Sky Garden at the top. And on the left, you've got the yellow bricks building with the golden fish. This is the old Billingsgate Market, an old fish market that stood here. Dates back 1,000 years old, the market in London. It got relocated from this area to Canary Wharf. Ahead of this boat, you got the HMS Belfast, launched back in 1938 for the Royal Navy and fired in anger during the Second World War and the Korean War. The Belfast they built in the same shipyard they built the Titanic in. The main guns of the Belfast were the 6 guns at the bow. These guns were capable of firing a 100-pound weighted shell 14 miles away, 14 land miles. You've got 6 guns identical at the back at the stern. Permanently moored here in the Belfast now. You can explore it. It's part of the Imperial War Museum. Tower Bridge in front of us. Tower Bridge opened back in 1894. It's not as old as it looks, Tower Bridge. They built it to blend in with the Tower of London. Tower Bridge, a part suspension, a part bastille bridge. The bastilles in the middle raise to allow big ships in and out of London. On average now, they raise 600 to 800 times a year. But when we had shipping arriving here in London, the bridge used to raise about 20 times a day. If you've never watched the Tower Bridge open, there's a website, Tower Bridge Lifting Times, that provides you with all the opening times of the bridge. The bridge has opened today. It will open today. You'd think opening Tower Bridge will cost money. It doesn't cost anything. It opens completely free of charge for big ships, if the ships allow a day's notice. So we always allow a day's notice. River traffic has priority over the road. These river boats have priority over road traffic. They shut the traffic when a big ship is arriving into London. Depending how slowly the ship is moving, we can see people stuck in traffic for about 20 minutes. Watch Tower Bridge open when everyone finishes work in London. It makes a lot of people angry when they're stuck in traffic. The reason we allow the day's notice is to tell the emergency services the road will be shut. So hopefully you got a picture of the bridge. See how the tide drifting the boat towards the bridge. The tide leaving London to the North Sea. In this area as well, you've got the Tower of London, the castle here. We do recommend it. The oldest part in the tower is the castle in the middle with the 4 turrets. That castle was built back in 1078 by William the Conqueror. It's called the Normandy Tower. The Tower of London was a royal mint, an observatory, a palace, a zoo. There was a prison, a place of execution as well. The only thing you cannot see within the tower is the bricked up arch and the entry traitor's gates, the place of execution, I said. A traitor would be sent to that point, taken to Tower Hill and executed. A traitor's head would be put onto a chopping block. They would use a big blunt axe to chop off your head, dip your head into tar and put it onto a spike for everyone to see. We don't do this punishment today. Today we have community service, but there you can see entry to the traitor's gate there. It's all bricked up now, but years ago it was a serviceable archway. Boats were rowed through here all the time. We'll be approaching the pier shortly. Take a seat until we're safely alongside. There is no rush to leave the boat, so remain seated. This boat goes to Greenwich. Travel information to Greenwich: 1 hour and a half to return to the tower, 2.5 hours to return to Westminster Pier. Returning boats at Tower Pier. The bus stop for big buses is at the top of the road. Make sure you got your belongings. Don't spoil your day by leaving a bag or a phone. Children, yes, I did say take your children with you. It really is shocking how many people have left them on the boat. I was left here, ladies and gentlemen. I did get put to work the very next day. We hope everyone enjoyed the commentary along the way as well. I'm not an official tour guide here on the boat. Like I said at the start, I'm only your crew member helping the captain to make sure everyone arrives safely. We have an audio guide on the boat that does the commentary for us, but it's not very good, so we put the effort in with the live commentary to make the trip as enjoyable for you as possible, and it's all done voluntary by us crew. If you've enjoyed it today, you want to show any appreciation, at the exit gate we leave behind a champagne silver tip bucket, the crew's tip bucket. You're welcome to leave anything you like inside the bucket. Anything, we leave it up to you, ladies and gents, what you want to leave in this bucket. If you do want to leave anything, your generosity will be greatly appreciated for the research inside the anchor, where me and Captain spend hours and hours. We understand not many people carry cash these days anymore, so we have the digital option for card payments as well. For your convenience, we can accept cards for the convenience of a lot of people. Thank you for travelling with us on the City Alpha. Whatever you have planned, have a good rest of the day. Goodbye everyone, and God bless.
Ladies and gents, we're safely alongside. If you're leaving the boat, just make your way downstairs to the exit. There's stairs at the back of the boat. There's a staircase at the front on the left. So we're going to go down to Greenwich. And we'll be at Greenwich in 25 minutes, I think. Hope you enjoyed the commentary by young Dom. And if Dommy's at the gate, he's going to be helping you off the boat.
Ja, zdaj čakamo. Malo za razgled. Evo znameniti. Jo. Z levo roko pa pozovem da kameru sakri. Это ж на istopy. Jag sträng sig. Vožnja. Sve.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome aboard the boat. The people that have joined us at the tower, good morning ladies and gents. This boat leaves the city of London, travels down the river to Greenwich. Journey time, half an hour, roughly half an hour. Downstairs, the toilets and bar for you. And the name of the boat, City Alpha. Life jackets, life rings and life rafts, marked with the international green and cream sticker. In the event of any accident, await the instructions your crew provide. Sit back, relax and enjoy the cruise. It's a nice morning for it today, not too hot, not too cold, and it's not raining. So you picked a good day to join the boat. I was given a commentary from Westminster, so I try and continue with the commentary down the river to Greenwich, as I can see a lot of people that stayed on the boat were enjoying the commentary. There's not as much to say here. We pass many warehouses. A lot of the places of interest we actually have left in the city, but I'll provide you a bit of history about the river Thames I've learned as a crew member on the boat. On the right hand side, an old warehouse here, Butler's Wharf, now restaurants and apartments. All the warehouses today along the river, apartments. Butler's Wharf was the tea warehouse. So from the 1800s up until the early 1900s, Butler's Wharf stored all the barrels of tea that arrived from China by clippers, tea clippers delivered the tea into London during the 1800s. And on the right here, got an entrance to a dock. That dock is where the musical Oliver Twist was filmed. Very famous musical was filmed here, Nat Creek. This area of London on the right, this is Bermondsey, South London. It was a very deprived area years ago when they filmed Oliver Twist. On the left, this area is East London. 3 green buildings here on the left hand side. A lot of buildings were built to resemble something. These buildings were built to resemble 3 marching French soldiers. As you can see, it looks nothing like it. The buildings look more like a boat. Behind us, a nice photo opportunity as well of Tower Bridge. The view of the bridge will disappear, so if you haven't got a photo, quickly grab one now. You can see St Paul's Cathedral in the back and the City of London on the skyscrapers in the background. Ladies and gents, hope you got nice pictures there. On the left now, you've got a townhouse with red window frames. Above the red windows, you've got the letter E. That letter E resembles execution dock. Years ago, when London was a busy shipping port, cargo was stolen, a lot of piracy. The pirate was found guilty of stealing. The pirate was sent here to execution dock onto the foreshore. They would chain the pirate on the river's wall. The pirate would be left for 3 tides of this river. So 3 tides of the river would pass over and drown the pirate. And that was the execution or piracy. The base of the Metropolitan River Police, the pirate, Captain Kidd, pub named after him, on the left. Inside the pub, they've got books about pirates. Captain Kidd was executed back in 1701. The government employed Captain Kidd to combat and tackle piracy. But Captain Kidd, he actually turned to piracy himself. When Captain Kidd was sentenced for execution, the rope snapped. He was executed on the 2nd attempt. On the right, you got a pub here as well. We do pass a lot of riverside pubs. You got the Mayflower here, named after a ship. That ship carried the Pilgrims to America. A bronze weather vane of the ship at the top. The Pilgrim Fathers escaped England and sought religious freedom in America. That ship took sail in 1620. We have left Bermondsey, this area on the right, the Rubber Hive. You've got one of London's best kept secrets here on the right. That's Rubber Hive Beach. Yes, I did say that. That is the name of the beach. Rubber Hive Beach. Who would have thought you'll see sandy beaches in London? Londoners don't need to go to Spain. They just go here instead. On the left hand side, you've got a few more warehouses here. New Crane Wharf, Metropolitan Wharf. Another riverside pub. The White Building. That's the oldest riverside pub, called the Prospect of Whitby, nicknamed the Devil's Tavern. It's where the pirates and smugglers would have drank. We still call it the Devil's Tavern today, because the clientele that drinks inside is London's politicians, lawyers, bankers, and estate agents. The area of London here, I mentioned the East End. In the East End of London, you've got Whitechapel. You may have heard of Whitechapel. It's where the Jack the Ripper murders happened. Look in the distance behind the black flags. You've got a grey building with a red helicopter on the roof. Behind the tree, you've got the blue roof, the red helicopter. That's the Royal London Hospital for the Air Ambulance. And that is the area of Whitechapel where the murders happen. You've got places here as well in the East End, like Bethnal Green. Bethnal Green is where the Cray twins were born. Ronnie and Reggie, this is where they had their organised guy's crying. On the left, you've got a red brick building. That red brick building, it's called Free Trade Wharf. It looks like a Lego set that was assembled by children, but the architect was very clever. He got maximum profit, so every apartment gets a riverside view, which increases the property value. We don't really pass many houses, a lot of flats and apartments, not many houses along the river. Years ago there was no flats or apartments, just warehouses for goods. Most of the warehouses were bombed during the Second World War, so only a couple did survive. On the right you can see the Globe Wharf warehouse. Old warehouses were built flush together, and the name of them still remains at the top. Modern apartments, either side of us now, have gaps between them. Very new apartments, these ones. Modern apartments have gaps because you need a fire escape exit now when you build apartments. On the left-hand side, you've got black windows. Above the black windows, a red bricked house. That's a restaurant, 5 stars, called The Narrow. A nice restaurant, owned by Gordon Ramsay. You might hear Gordon Ramsay abusing his staff if you go there for a meal. On the left, you've got black lock gates, Limehouse Marina. Open up these black lock gates with a canal boat, a little narrow boat. From the East End, you can reach Manchester, Birmingham. You can reach places like this, but the journey very long, about 4 weeks with a canal boat from the East End to Manchester. But that was the old motorway of England before trains and cars. On the left, a riverside pub called The Grapes. The Grapes pub is owned by Sir Ian McKellen, better known as Gandalf from Lord of the Rings. You can see on the pedestal a statue there, the orange statue next to the pink. Gandalf lives next to that pub. They're Gandalf statues. I can't give Gandalf's address, but outside his apartment there is an orange statue. That's where Gandalf lives, next door to the Grapes, one of his many properties, and it takes a wealthy man like him to own one of these pubs. Now we leave the city of London. On the left you've got Canary Wharf. This is a financial district they built on the outskirts of the city. This area employs a lot of people, very, very busy, Monday to Friday. They'd say 150,000 people work here. That's a lot of people in one area. They built one Canada Square. One Canada Square is the one with the pyramid and the flashing light. That's the headquarters of Canary Wharf, built back in 1992. That was the tallest building in the country up until this shard. They put the light flashing at the top as an indicator for planes. So in a foggy day, you can always see the flashing light. You also got the names of the banks that have their headquarters here, like HSBC, Barclays, JP Morgan, headquarters of banks, financial district. Before Canary Wharf was here, we had the West India Dock, and the West India Dock was literally located here. Ships arrived from the Canary Islands and traded tropical fruits like bananas here in the West India Dock. So when they redeveloped it, they renamed it Canary Wharf after the old canary trade. This is where we had the Millwall Dock and the East India Dock as well. The Millwall Dock was located on this bend of the river, and the East India Dock was located around the bend. London's shipping became abandoned in the 1980s. Container ships took over, and container ships are very big, very large. They couldn't maneuver and navigate in these narrow waters. So now you've got docks like Tilbury, where the ships arrive with goods. So further down the river, Tilbury dock. bend on the left, it's a man-engineered island that once employed 100,000 dockers. It's also where we had marshlands. So years ago this was just empty marshlands. And the marshland, it's where King Henry VIII kept his hunting dogs. This area on the left, now we have left Canary Wharf, this area is called the Isle of Dogs, named after King Henry VIII. Left and right of this boat, ladies and gentlemen, so if you look either side of us now, we have unaffordable riverside flats, more flats and apartments. I will not bore you and name the price of every single flat. I'll share a couple facts about the River Thames instead. This river, one of the fastest flowing tidal rivers in the world. The current can flow up to 9 knots, at 10 miles per hour. The tide is with us today. We're with the tide, so the tide increasing the speed of the boat. The tide leaving London downstream to the North Sea. When the tide leaves London, we call it an ebb tide. When the tide rises upstream into London, we call it a flood tide. We see 4 tides in 24 hours, the rise and fall of water every day. The high water mark is that grey moss line. You rowers will look to the left, that's the high water. And on the left you can see a slip there. That slip was the entrance to the Millwall dock. I mentioned the Millwall dock. That was the entrance to the dock there. If the tide is ever predicted to rise too high and flood London, sometimes we get very high tides. But we do have a flood defence system called the Thames Barrier. Further down this river, you've got the Thames Barrier, and they shut the barrier sometimes. London is at risk of flooding. This river, it picks up little bits of sediment and mud from the estuary, so it is a mud river. That's why the water looks very, very murky. They do say today a very clean River Thames, one of the cleanest rivers in the entire world. I don't believe that, but they do say it. If you Google it, cleanest rivers, they say this is one of the cleanest today. It never used to be. Years ago this river was used for sewage, human waste. It was declared biologically dead up until the 1950s. Today it's not biologically dead. We see many species of fish. They say 100 species of wildlife live in these waters now. Practically every single day, I mean every day, around this area, Canary Wharf, Greenwich, we spot a seal. Seals, very, very common. We do see them every day. So keep an eye for a seal. You may see one. Porpoises, blackfish, salmon, trout, eels. If you get a glass of river water and leave it to settle, it takes about half an hour for the mud and sediment to settle until the water is left crystal clear. Don't go and drink the river when you leave us today. It probably will kill you the next day. It's not safe to drink. On old warehouses, you see the word warm written at the top. So you know it's W-H-A-R-F. That word has a meaning. The warehouse at river front for war. Warehouse at river front. An old warehouse there. Wharf, see that word? Warehouse at river front. Not many people know. We'll be at Greenwich soon, ladies and gentlemen. Greenwich very soon. There's a lot to do at Greenwich. When we get here, the crew has a break. You must leave the boat and rejoin it. As the crew have a break, the company made it a policy. We have returning boats all afternoon. The last boat, 6:30. 6:30 this evening is the last boat today. This boat leaves at 12:30. Boats every 40 minutes. Every 40-minute gap you got a boat. 12:30, 1:10, 10 to 2. At Greenwich, you've got the park. At the top of the park, you've got the observatory, the Meridian Line. You get one of the best views of London from the top of Greenwich. You've got the Meridian Line there as well. That's about a 20 minutes walk you are doing. It's a very steep hill. The Meridian Line, where east meets west at 0 longitude degrees. The eastern hemisphere dividing the western hemisphere. So they do call Greenwich the centre of the universe. As we have arrived, ladies and gents. Not many people look happy, but this is the centre of the universe. You should be very happy. You see a green dome at the top of the hill, that T-bar. That's the observatory, the T-bar and the Red Bull. You can watch the Red Bull rise at 5 minutes to 1 today. At Red Bull rises 5 minutes to 1, drops precisely at 1 o'clock. That's how we set GMT, the oldest public display timepiece in the world. It was built for the Navy, so Navy officers can set their chronometers, their watches, watching that Red Bull. You've got the Cutty Sark here as well. These clippers were built for speed. They travel very fast, at 17 knots on average, about double the speed of this boat. The clippers were powered with no engines, only with wind and sail. The Cutty Sark was built in Scotland, built in 1869. And these clippers would have delivered all the cargo up until the early 1900s. Now here today, the Cutty Sark, part of a museum. Many clippers didn't survive, a lot of them were damaged. You've got the old naval colleges here as well, now Greenwich University. You've got the market, Greenwich Market, here on a weekend, very busy area of Greenwich. By leaving the boat, ladies and gents, remain seated. There is no rush to leave us today. Make sure you gather your personal belongings, bags, phones are with you. Do not spoil the rest of your day. And a final word about the commentary today, ladies and gents. I hope everyone has enjoyed it, and I hope I've added to your journey. I am not an official tour guide on this boat. I'm only your crew member, helping, making sure everyone arrives safely. We have a pre-recorded commentary to play. Very boring, the pre-recorded commentary, so we don't like to use it. You hear it on the buses. You get much better feedback doing it the traditional way. It's all voluntary by us to help us carry on the tradition. At the exit gate, you see the crew's silver tip bucket. You're welcome to show your appreciation, leaving anything you like. We leave it up to you, what you want to leave, if you want to leave something, if you've enjoyed it today. Your generosity, greatly appreciated. When me and the captain visit the various pubs to research about London. We can accept card payments as well. We understand not many people carry cash these days. A lot of people don't carry cash these days. So we do have the more modern card machine if that is more convenient. Thank you for travelling on the City Alpha. Goodbye everyone. My name is Dom. Goodbye and God bless.
Scusa, quando dove stanno? Ma si tutto.